Are we recording?
Yeah. Dang.
Oh my God. You all right?
No.
What?
No, not at all.
Why not? Tell me why.
Because this is weird, dude. Like, really weird. First of all, we look like we're sat in a cafe and having coffee morning.
Well, we are, aren't we?
Well, yeah, I suppose.
And then what's the other bit that's nerve-wracking?
I generally don't talk to you. We read.
We'll be read. Right, let's do this. So, this is episode 9 of Beyond the Dots podcast, where I've been talking to my inner circle. And today I'm focusing on Trailblazer. And so I want to introduce Charlotte Marrifield, who is a super, super talented pâtisserie chef who has been absolutely called the Damien Hirst of desserts by the Telegraph newspaper. She has many, many plaudits and awards, and she's my little sister as well. So, hello, you're right. Good. So we can have a little chat, aren't we?
Okay, cool.
So, you've seen some of my other podcasts
I have.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is talking to people who I really believe are part of my inner circle that is not necessarily people who work for me, because of course, or work with me, but it's people who I feel really inspire me, or people that I know that I really enjoy having around me, or have been, huge kind of motivators. And people, what I'm trying to do is really explore the difference or the similarities of people in business who are also super creative. And does it really make you, I suppose, a better leader or a better visionary if you have that creative bent, and the differences of what creativity could be? Okay. So that's kind of what I've been sort of looking at. And that I've spoken to Gabe Galletti, who had that complete sort of transformation from CEO to author. And that I've spoken to people like Vron, who's, a friend of ours, who also has had a real kind of interesting cliched term journey, but has had an interesting journey in terms of her work world, but her kind of views on life and her sort of like crazy creativity.
Terms of views.
We love it. And so, that I've been desperate to talk to you. So just tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, like your whole kind of work world. Just give me, and like give the listeners, because people are like super interested. So just tell me a bit about it.
Okay, so currently, I own the Harrogate Cake Company with husband. So husband and wife team. We have a small team here. We create premium desserts and cakes under our own brand, the Harrogate Cake Company, but we also provide products for people under license, so we make for other people under their own brands as well, which is something that's quite exciting too, because they give you trust in their own brand, which is really cool. Aside from that, because why have one job when you can have two, I also am a consultant for other companies who require a little bit of innovation and some fancy things being made and a little bit of way. So I do that also as well on the side.
Because you've been described before, haven't you, as well as being the Damien Hirst desserts, which I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that's like the best thing ever.
So it's like the best day of your life.
Oh yeah. Like my sis is the Damien Hirst desserts. But also you've been described as the face behind the taste.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things that people will eat in.
Like everywhere, like most of the supermarkets, most of the brands in the supermarkets have been created by me, and the products that go behind that. So it is, you don't necessarily know it's me, but it is.
Because Krispy Kremes is one of yours, isn't it? The biggest selling flavour or whatever.
Yeah.
Krispy Kremes is one of yours. And you've done hero products for like Waitrose and
M&S, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Goo, Lily O'Brien's chocolates, Krispy Kreme. Did the world's most expensive donut for them, so that was really cool. The Ireland's largest Easter egg for Lily. This is a life. Right?
This is your life.
This is my life. It's weird and it's strange, but it's full of sweet stuff.
It is. Well, that's it. And everyone I talk to, when I tell them what you do, they're way more interested in you than me. It's then like, yeah. Like, oh my God, does she really do that? That is amazing. And one of the things that is really amazing, and one of the things I really wanted to explore with you is you are probably one of the few people that I know from a career perspective who, okay, your career has kind of exponentially grown, but you're still doing what you started doing when you were 16 years old.
Totally. Yeah. Lack of imagination, maybe.
That's part of it, isn't it, with the stuff that you do. You're like, oh my God.
But in my circle, our circle, I am the only person I know who still does that, who hasn't had a complete, sort of swerve of career.
Yeah. So where did that come? Because, right, I'm sure our mother will listen to this podcast.
Oh,
okay.
Be nice.
Mom, I'm sorry. But like cooking in our family, it ain't great. So where did that come from?
I have absolutely no idea. But it was just something that I could do, and I could do it quite easily without, a lot of fuss. And I just really enjoyed it as a kid as well, with grandma making like scones and stuff like that as well in school holidays. But yeah, I just found it easy to do. And then as soon as I started to do it, your mother started to like, well, you do it then. You do it. So yeah,
My mother. Not yours.
Yeah. So it just became something that I could do really easily, that I really enjoyed, and just really, I kind of figured out very early on that I wasn't going to be the 100-meter butterfly Olympic champion. Which is what I wanted to be originally. Oh yeah, totally. But I realised very early
and you
that
were like county champion level.
Yeah,
so, and it's not like you did do it. I remember. Like,
no, I
whole
did.
Family had to wake up at 6 in the morning to trug you off to swimming. Yeah, I do remember those days. Like, oh my God,
I know. But you all still love me for it, though, really.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing, isn't it? Because like I can't swim and I can't cook. So it's which I mean I kind of can swim, but as we know, it's kind of doggy paddle. So there's obviously something there that there was some sort of, I don't know if there's something up there that means that we're given certain skills. You got those 100% for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I learned I wasn't going to do that for a living. So cookery and chefing was something that just seemed like the right fit. And it just felt like really easy and natural to do it, just to go off to college and yeah.
But you say that, and this is why I wanted to really talk Trailblazer. And I know that you go, oh my God, so not Trailblazer. But it was funny because the parents, our parents, were with me on Friday night, and they were talking, and Carrie, my stepdaughter, was there, and they were talking about kind of London and various things. And it reminded me that you went off to London at 17 years old?
London 17, but I went to Devon at 16. Left home at 16, yeah.
So you went to college.
So I went to college and to do general chefery, and then
is that a term, chefery, or are we just kind of like one of our like chefery?
I don't know. It should be a term.
Yeah, okay, general chefery. General chefing.
General chefery, and I had an opportunity to go and do what's called a stage, so a 6 to 9 month work placement to get absolute, like skills and see what it was like to be a chef. So I went at 16 to Devon to do that, and then I came back, and then I went again to London at 17.
Like the following summer.
Yeah.
And if I remember, that was the Garrick Club, wasn't it?
I went to Garrick Club, yeah.
Which your father was saying, your father, obviously, my father was saying on Friday night, again, he does that whole kind of like brag thing about how at that stage, when he took you down there, he could walk, because it's an all-male
gentlemen's club, and I still believe it's the only one left in London that will not have female members.
We need to check that out. We will.
We will
research that just to check. But I'm obviously appalled by that.
So yeah, he could walk through the main entrance. I couldn't, and I had to go through a side door originally, and then obviously after that, I kept going through the staff door anyway, which is the side. But yeah, it's only at that time it was. Yeah, he just swarmed on in, and then somebody came out to see me, and then they took me through a side door. And at that time also, there was only certain rooms they could go into as well. women could go into. So if you were they were having like a big function or something, there were separate rooms that they could have functions with women. And one of them was called the AA Milne room, and they painted it pink. I don't know if it's still pink, but like, yeah, this is what women want. Paint it pink. So it was just, but everything else was, sort of brown and leather and big high back chairs and smelt of cigars and stuff. But there was this one room that was just pink.
And I guess this was what, the 90s?
Yeah, mid 90s. Yeah, early to mid. Let's not dwell on when. But
no. I'll just say the 90s. The 90s.
Yeah.
So you did that. So you're 17 years old and you're on your own and you're in London. I bet now that couldn't even happen. I bet you'd have to have now you probably have to have chaperones or something. Did you have to have that?
No, absolutely not. No, I got there and they gave me an address for where I was going to live, and they got accommodation for me, and I went, and the parents drove me down. So they drove me to the accommodation, which was in West Kensington. Just down the road from Queen's Club. Princess Di at the time lived at the top of the road. Nice place. And if ever you're going to live in London, that's where you really want to live. So the house was amazing. It was like a 3-story townhouse, and we all had rooms, and there was just loads of other girls there who were waitresses and things, and chambermaids and stuff, and they were just all living in there, and they just dumped me in it, and that was that. Gave me a tube card and said, you need to get on the Piccadilly line and then go from Barons Court to Leicester Square. And there you go. Just like, okay.
Wow, that's amazing though, isn't it? When you think about that now, and it would be, so exciting, but so scary in so many ways.
It was really, really scary, but so exciting. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Because I learned loads as well. Because by that time I'd decided, because when I first went to Devon, I'd gone as a general chef. Loosely termed, I'd only been doing it for 3 months of college.
But I will take it.
Yeah. So I went in, and I wasn't even a commis chef. I was below the kitchen porter. I was, it was, yeah. And I walked in with my practical cookery book that they'd given you at college.
Delia.
It was Cesarani and Kinton. I don't know if they still do that with the students. And my knives wrapped in the sheaths. And I walked in, and the pastry chef had walked out in the morning. That morning I got there in like some real kind of strop that he'd had, and he was gone. And the kitchen then, restaurant kitchens and everything are just so much more professional now, but back in the 90s there was no Me Too either, so that could have been maybe that's another podcast.
Well, I think it is. I think you've got some
Beyond the Dots Goes Dark or something. I don't know, maybe that's for another time. We do it after the watershed.
Okay.
But
not with tea.
And not not with tea.
No.
Yeah. So I got there, and the pastry chef had gone, and the kitchen was just full of men who, to me at the time, just seemed really old, but they weren't. They were most of them probably only sort of early 20s, that kind of thing. And not one of them had any interest in pastry work at all. So girl pushed me in there and just said, make something. So that time also you had a desserts trolley. So the desserts came out of the trolley, like trotted around there.
You didn't have to do that though.
No, I didn't have to do that. And I made a sour cherry and chocolate tort. I remember doing that. And I don't know how I did it, because I had absolutely no idea. They weren't helpful at all. They just bobbed me in this kitchen, and I had no ingredients and had to try and find my way around. And I did. And then I just really enjoyed the pastry aspect and the dessert aspect, because food is really creative, but pastry is an art form.
Mm-hmm.
It really is an art form, and I just really enjoyed that. So then when I'd finished there and I went back to college, I decided to specialise in pastry work at that point. So when I went to London, I'd gone there as a trainee pastry chef, and met an actual proper pastry chef, the first one I'd ever met in my entire life. And she was incredible, and she just taught me so much, and it was amazing. And also to have another woman in the kitchen as well. It was still like very male. Everybody else was a dude, but it was just the two of us, and it was amazing. Really enjoyed that. And then lived in London, so at 17.
And then you went to Bristol.
Yeah. Went to Bristol, 21. I
And
mean,
to live.
to live. Yeah. To
to work
proper.
in a-
Yeah. My first real proper job as a pastry chef, which was, that was where I like, Veronica has a journey. Charlotte found herself in Bristol. So there you go. It was, I was given complete free rein in a kitchen where I was walking into something that had been going for so long, and with a chef who was super respected and had so many awards and so many accolades, but he trusted me enough to say, you do what you want with the dessert menu, which was great. Ultimate control. Yes. Love that.
And you, if I remember, that whole kind of restaurant experience down there, I mean, it was an amazing restaurant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, and your chef then was Stephen Marfix, who was kind of very, very kind of well respected by other kind of chefs,
he's a chef.
Yeah.
He came from a background of, Joyce Molyneux and all those kind of people who are the godfathers and godmothers of British cuisine, and that's where he trained. And his friends are Rick Stein and people like that. The real kind of the chefs that are not taken on by like fad and fame. He's food is first and foremost, and he's absolutely amazing, and that is how he gets what he ultimately got with all his awards and everything, because of his just dedication to the art of his food. Amazing.
And have you got any well, I know you have, but are there any like kind of really crazy stories that you could actually tell? You could actually tell us. Is there any at all, or would we? Are we just going to be like massively censored? Because I know you've obviously told me like a lot of stories.
Yes, and we've skipped over quite a large chunk. Which is good.
We have.
Yeah, I mean,
well, the whole kind of kitchen thing. Let's not ignore. I know we probably can't talk about mastery about it, but I mean, right now, you've just in the press recently, there's been two very high profile people, isn't there, who've been on TV, who it's all kind of come out that their toxic kind of nature, and it's that alleged toxic nature of the way the kitchens are. And every time I see stuff like that, it makes me think about you back in the day. And I remember with Ron, so this is triangulation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I remember being with Ron, and Ron and I were running the nursing unit together, and you ringing me and like just absolutely past yourself about certain things that were going on.
Yeah.
And Ron and I, in our true kind of style, I don't quite know how we thought we were going to do it, but we were like hiring a van. We were like, we were coming to get you. We've got like baseball bats,
commando rolling through the kitchen, dragging her out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, it's an intervention. We've got to get you. Because some of this stuff, and again, you were like, very early 20s, like late.
I was only 18 then.
Oh yeah, that was Scotland, which was kind of like
we've got that was.
So I suppose my point being that it must be very difficult. You see all this now with the Me Too kind of movement around kitchens and stuff. You just said you think things have massively improved.
They have. Kitchens are much more professional these days than they used to be, and Michelin stars and all that kind of stuff. That it's an actual career. Whereas back in the 90s, you did have sort of more transient people doing it because it was easy and it can be trained, and that
you say it's easy though, but it's highly stressful and highly pressured.
It really is, and that's where a lot of the things that happen. I don't know how we call it. What do we say? How the things that go on in a kitchen. The culture
culture in a kitchen environment, and a highly pressurized environment where people are together, it's hot and all sorts.
I mean, but you get away with things because of that, and that's always the excuse. But what I found for me was that there was a lot, and as we know, and there's a lot of stuff that happened and I saw and went down, and particularly the early part of my career in the early 90s, where there was no real looking after a younger person.
So no well-being like there is.
Absolutely not. I mean, I remember I was absolutely being bullied rotten by my chef de partie, who was just being the most awful and making me do really awful things and throwing things at me and knives and clogs. I got a clog up the side of the head. I ducked once so I didn't get a saucepan coming at me and all those things. And he said to me, and I remember very clearly, he said, but when you get to my level, you can do it to the person below you. And I just thought, I don't want to do that. Yeah. But that's the trend of it. It happened to you, so you do it to the person below. But what's really weird about it is that because I found school quite difficult as regards friendships and stuff and, bullying and all that kind of stuff, I'd moved into this food, and I wasn't being bullied because I wasn't good at what I was doing. I was being bullied because I was a girl and I was the youngest one and I was the newbie.
Easy target,
totally. But what I really found, what it got out of me was that this is a real frog you moment.
Yeah.
I've censored myself.
You did. Well, frog you. Love that.
So
can we say that?
So it was a real, I will get through this because I want to do this. And you also see from the outside, you see the rest of the brigade, because it's a brigade and you spend an awful amount of time together.
Mm-hmm.
You over a split shift, and sometimes you don't even get splits. You can spend a good 12, 13, 14 hours a day with those people. So you get this real weird kind of family dynamic thing going on.
Yeah.
And I, from the outside, wanted to be in that, not necessarily because I wanted to be, bullying everybody else, but I just wanted to be part of that group. So it made me
that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I could do what I could do, they weren't bullying me because I wasn't doing it right.
Yeah.
So eventually they just stopped because they realized I wasn't going anywhere. And then they started to look after me in a really weird, protective Big Brothers kind of a way.
So it's kind of like an initiation.
Yeah.
In a very bad way.
Yeah.
But you'd earned your spurs with them.
Yeah.
So now they're okay and they move on to someone else. I mean, as I say,
it's horrendous.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people that when I was doing these things that you see come and go and, they're crying and it's just awful. But I will not cry in front of you. I will not back down. You can do what you want. They locked me in a chest freezer and sat on the top of the chest freezer so I couldn't get out. So, but I'm in the bottom of the chest freezer freezing and thinking,
I think that was when we
this
were
is how
in the back.
This is how I'm going to die. This is how I'm going to die. I'm going to be frozen in a chest freezer. But
next to like huge pieces of meat and oh my god,
really. But and that was a tame thing. But it was I will not, and that's probably not the right thing to do. But there was nobody to go and tell. I couldn't go to somebody and go. I can't go to chef and say, well, they're doing this because he's the instigator to getting them to do it. So there was nobody who you could actually speak to.
It's this kind of weird sort of sense of humour thing as well and release, isn't it? Because, as you're describing that, I didn't go through anything quite as bad as that. But when I was nursing, particularly in theatre, so when I did my stint in theatre, the ODAs, so the operating department assistants or the ODPs, the practitioners who are in there all the time. So it's very, very similar. You go in, there's no real light, there's no natural light. You're in theatres, highly pressurised. You've all got to work as a team. So they would do that with the student nurses. You'd be all of a sudden you'd be doing something and then you'd find yourself being lifted up and picked up and thrown in the shower with the shower on. You've got your uniform on and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very similar in that way. And it's like, this is all for jolly laughs. I mean, it's just not. It is just not. And thankfully, the world is a changing. So, I get all of that. And of course, you then moved on with your career massively to kind of where you are today and the acclaim and the accolade. And we could sit there and talk. And I know you hate it, but it's true. What people who are looking at us, who are watching us on YouTube can't see is that behind there's a whole kind of wall of things up there that kind of are your accolades and your awards and that you've won. So you this is the Trailblazer piece as well. You then at some stage decided that you were going to never move away from your art, and it is your art and all the things that you've just talked about, but you wanted to do something different and you wanted to take a slightly different path to kind of where you are now. So what happened then that was like, right, this is what I want to do and I want to drive my own business?
So what I wanted when I left the restaurants, I left that purely because of like physically and mentally it was I was done probably, and you know, you were there. So it wasn't the greatest, and I wanted to do something different, but I, like I said from the beginning, I found food enjoyable, therapeutic, and I wanted to continue to do that. So I got a job. I found a job doing design work and MPD for Marks and Spencer's. So I moved to that, and it became something that was really different. I was able to continue to design things, but even more so because you then have to go into the intricacy of it all with things like the shelf life of the product. Can I make it look like this on day 1, but then also can I make it look like that on day 7 also, without adding lots of things,
and mass producing them as well,
and then putting them into a production area where I can make 4, but can they make 40,000? So it was really interesting, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then obviously, you know, there's the buzz of, you go into Marks and Spencer's and you see it, and then you're like, oh, that's mine. That's mine.
And then, of course, we all did that as a family. That's my sister.
And mother who goes around and like looks in people's shopping trolleys. Oh yeah, that's that one.
No, put that one back.
No, have you not tried this one? So it gave me a really different outlook on the food industry and what I'd come from and what I was doing. It also helped with the fact that I worked Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So that was an incredibly new thing for me. And I kind of made that transition from restaurants to that. And then I wanted to, when I got into the development of it all and just doing all this work for other brands and other people, just thinking, why can't I have a go myself? And what I'd really like to do is have a pâtisserie and have my own little shop. And that had been in the back of my head for, I don't know, like 10 years maybe. Just sitting there, you know, like a brain itch that just won't go away. Because
so you have like this whole kind of mood board thing about, this is what I want, this is what it's going to look like, this is going to be kind of really different.
And I wanted to I wanted to create an atmosphere and a feel and a vibe of just happiness in a little shop where I could have my kitchen downstairs and people could see me cook. So hiding nothing, completely open. You see what I make. This is how I do it. And then, you know, have like tables round and coffee and champagne and wine and things like that, and afternoon tea and you know, come in and have something or come and take it away. And that was the dream. That's what I wanted.
So it's like, I remember you describing it to me as like theatre. You wanted to create this kind of like sense of theatre, but taste and just this whole sort of atmospheric happiness, and so you did.
Yeah.
So you up sticks from the very Wales, because at this stage we've missed a bit. You went from Bristol to, because there's a journey. To Ron, there's a journey. So you went from Bristol to Cardiff.
Yeah.
Because we've done that, haven't we? So we've done London, Scotland, Bristol, Cardiff.
Yeah.
Harrogate.
Yeah. Move around.
Yeah, exactly. So you came up. Gave everything up. This is a trailblazing bit as well. And there wasn't really at that time. And, you know, I think if I remember when you were looking to do this, cupcakes were big. So it was the big thing.
Cupcakes were starting off their first kind of, you know, and there wasn't even social media at that point to make them viral and everything. They were just like, everybody just wanted cupcakes. And it was also in the midst of a really hard recession. So let's open a luxury business. Why not?
Had some sticks. Let's open a luxury business.
Let's get your husband to give up his job and his career, sell your house, move to somewhere that you don't know, open a business that you've never actually done before in your life, and figure out how you pay all these bills and all these things that you need to do, and the council and
Yeah, but
Eat and
actually,
drink.
if I remember, well, obviously eat and drink, but if I remember that actually, although that was huge and does not play to your strengths in the nicest possible way, because you are obviously a real creative, but you did it. The worst thing was the day that you opened and somebody walked in.
Yeah.
I remember you dying.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, I know.
And you were literally
I know.
kind of like, and you just like, dude, we probably need to explain that in a minute, the whole dude. But like you were going, dude, someone's coming in, someone's coming in. Oh my God.
Oh, I still feel the panic of it now. Oh my God, dude. I'm having like a PTSD flashback. That was horrendous. Because I remember that morning, Kevin was like, because we'd got like papers up against the window and everything, and people kept walking past and peeping in, and he's going, right, we need to take these off. And I would not take them off. No. And at one point he found me upstairs in the corner.
No, I think that's where I found.
Just like this, because what if nobody comes? Yeah,
but you didn't want anyone to come.
I know I did.
It was like the weirdest thing. You'd spent 10 years having this plan, and then you opened the door and you went upstairs. And you were absolutely upstairs.
And I died.
And I remember being with you, and you'd got somebody that was working for you at the time, and you heard like the kind of the cash register as it was. I mean, going, and you were like, "Oh my God, dude, somebody's just bought something! Oh my God!"
Like peered over the banister, going, "Kev, what did they buy?" And I remember,
did they line kit? Or like they haven't even eaten it yet? Shut up!
Yeah, but no, I remember he, and I remember what they had. They had a passion fruit and raspberry tartlet, and she took it away, and she said, I've been waiting for this place to open. I keep walking past it. So as soon as it opened, I needed to come in. But yeah, I died that day.
Oh, no, you died for the next, 7 years?
7 years, yeah, every time someone came in. It's hard. It's...
Well, I guess it is as well. And for somebody who, as much as you wanted to have your brand out there, you'd always been, in the kitchen and the back. So people are eating your desserts, but you didn't see, you weren't customer facing, or you had been then when you started to do all of the consultancy work and the kind of the creation for other organizations. You were the face behind the taste, but like no one really knew your face because they think they were buying Marks and Spencer's. Now all of a sudden you're here. And this was the thing for me and you inspire me in so many ways anyway, as my little sis in so many ways, but that you took that massive, talk about when people now say, oh, out of my comfort zone, whoa, they needed to have kind of like followed you around for, the year or whatever, that first year of that, because it was so out of your comfort zone.
Comfort world. Yeah. It was, the things I had to learn, the things I had to do were just on a daily basis of just going round this. It was horrendous for the first. I look back on it now thinking it was horrendous, and then sometimes I look back and I wish I still did that. But very complex. But it was those first few months, because it's the firsts of everything that you've never had to do before, and you're right. I'd always been behind everything, but even with like going to Marks and Spencer's and presenting the product and telling them that this is what it is and this is why I've done it and this is on trend and this is that and this, I've used this ingredient for provenance, and my big flashy presentations and all that kind of stuff. And they can turn around and say no, but it doesn't matter because it's only really me and 3 other people in the room who've heard them say no, or I don't like it, or can you make it bigger? Can you make it square? Can you make it chocolate? Can you add a little bit more of this and a little less of that? And that's fine. But these people were directly telling me what they thought of and they are so personal. It's so personal to me, or at that time, it was really personal. And whatever they said, I thought that it was like, no one ever said anything bad. So I don't know why I think that.
I remember when the TripAdvisor things used to come through, your reviews, and you would need to basically have a lie down.
Yeah.
Like have a lie down, kind of like squint through one eye at the first line to see.
I'll get you to read
it's 5-star. It's 5-star, dude. It's 5-star.
Read it to me. What does it say? Yeah. Oh yeah.
But this went on for 7 years.
I think I got a little bit better. Okay, maybe I didn't, but I like to think I got a little bit better. But it was really, because it's all those firsts, and then it's not just firsts about the food. What you're throwing into the mix of this, which nobody ever tells you when you open up a restaurant or a cafe, the great British public.
I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, okay. because they're a time bomb waiting to go off that you just absolutely cannot quantify in any way. And things that they do and that happens on a random Tuesday in Harrogate, you'd be like, really? What? And like, yeah. So it was,
And we're all part of that, obviously.
Yeah.
We're all part of that great British public. We're all part of it. But
it can be really weird. So
you see all of life, don't you?
You see it,
and you've been hidden from all of that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, in my world, I've certainly seen all of life. But I know, but then it was very different because, you know, I was in a healthcare environment, whereas, you know, you're selling, I mean, at the times you had all sorts of situations where you were having to administer, you know, health issues and sorts for people.
At the time,
agony aunts.
Yeah, agony aunts. All kind of, you know, trying to prize customers off my staff members who've gotten by the neck up against the wall. And all just because somebody had sat in the seat she likes to sit in. And then 3 days later, her caseworker coming in going, she really likes coming here. And she's very calm. And I wouldn't mind it if you could just let her keep coming. But you've got too many knives around. Can you move them into the back? What?
What? I take it you move the knives.
Moved them?
Plastic knives from now on.
Yeah. Well, everybody had like children's safe scissors. Like, my goodness. And I just stood there wearing my pink chef white with my hair up in a bun on my head thinking, I just wanted to make really lovely cakes for everybody. And now this is happening. This makes it sound like it was really bad, and it wasn't at all.
It's just that community thing though, isn't it? I think that's the thing. What you did was you went from working in, you know, as I say, really highly pressurized environments and really top restaurants and, you know, other environments of that ilk to then creating a community. And I don't think you realize that that's what you were doing. And this whole kind of the strength of it was that you wanted to be up front and center and you wanted to show this theatre. Well, people were fascinated by that. So people would come and sit and watch you and watch you do your artistry, and they'd be there for hours and you'd be like, So you created another family. So you did that. And then it kind of, what happened? Because it got a lot bigger and then it was another decision time.
We got to a point with it. And initially, when I wanted to do this, in my head, I wanted like 7 of them, you know, like a chain of all these things. But it became very clear very quickly that I'd created a monster in a way in the patisserie, in that people came to see me. You're right. You're right. I totally created a family, and they came to see me. And if I wasn't there, then they would wait until I was there.
Yeah.
And I just thought that there's no way that I'm ever going to grow this or
replicate it.
No,
just couldn't
because I'd made it reliant on me, which was a really big learn lesson. And I'm hoping that I'm learning that now and not doing that now. So I just kind of came home one day and I said to Kev, because one of the things I do, I'm bobbing around now. Sorry. I'm bobbing around. I'm going tangential to the primary story. But the thing is, I don't really think about stuff.
That's helpful for everyone to know.
Yeah. I don't. I'm like you. I'm an obsessive compulsive.
Thank you. None taken.
But that doesn't necessarily, although I do need order around me. But for me, it's things in my head. And I need to get them out. And once I get them out and I start doing that, I'm absolutely fine. But then something else comes in and we start again. But I need to get those things out pretty quick. And the way I do that is by not thinking about it too much. I'm just doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you're obviously, well, for those people listening to us that aren't watching us on podcast, they probably are very kind of, they don't know which one of us is speaking and which one isn't.
Yeah.
Because we are kind of twins a number of years apart. So for sure.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay, cool. So I kind of gone home one day and I said to Kev, I'd like to have a go at a brand in a supermarket. I'd just done a really big piece of work for Sainsbury's and I was like, and they really loved the products, but the reason that they really loved the products and they wanted them, but the manufacturer that they'd aligned to do them were just like, we can't make these. These are way too intricate for us. And I was like, yeah, you can. It's really simple. But they were just like, no, because it was all about efficiency and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So I'd kind of got this bug in my head that, well, we could do it. Not necessarily that contract, because it would have been way too big, but we could do that sort of stuff. I know how to develop for a factory. So I'd gone home and I said this to Kev, and he was like, okay.
Because also he'd been a planner, hadn't he, in kind of factories anyway? And
yeah, so his background is food manufacturing, and he did logistics and planning for Morrison's and Marks and Spencer's and stuff like that. So he was actually working in Cone when we were going through this, and I was like, oh, I want to try and do something. And then I'd found online that Booth's Supermarkets, which is just a northern thing, if anyone down south is listening.
Well, it's the Northern Waitrose.
They call it the Waitrose of the North.
Yes, for those who don't know, it's
yeah. And they, on their website, they had this meet the buyer form. So you basically fill it in with your company name and what your product idea is, and then if they're interested, they'll get back to you. And then we drove over, they got back to me, and I had these ideas, and I made these products, and I got some packaging mocked up, and I took them over, and we drove to Preston because that's where they're based. And I had 15 minutes, and we were in one room, and there were 7 other buyers in there, all being pitched to at the same time. And you've got 15 minutes, and you can hear what's going on at the next table because someone's pitching sausages, and you're a bit like, what's going on over there? And pork pies on this side, and I'm like trying to talk about a passion fruit cheesecake, and I just kind of throwing these things at him and talking really, really quickly because I didn't know how to go 15 minutes, and I wanted to make sure I got everything. And he was sat there a bit like, but anyway,
hairdryer effect.
Yeah. So I gave him all this stuff, and then we left. And then the idea is that if they're interested again, then, they get back to you. And we were driving back, and we hadn't even got to Harrogate because we'd stopped somewhere in Skipton for a drink. And I got 4 emails from the buyer going, these products are incredible. Yes, I want to launch them. When can you launch it?
And at this stage, you've still got your shop.
Holy frog. Yeah, still got the shop. Because, I mean, yeah. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. I have no production facility. See, classic, don't think of what you're doing. So I then had to go back to him and go, sorry. So they sent their technical manager over, who came to the shop, and she went around the shop, and she was like, yeah, you can do it from here. Close it to the public, obviously. We can put a fridge upstairs, a walk-in fridge and some walk-in freezers. You can have this as your production area. Get rid of that. Do that. Yeah, you can do it here. What? From this cafe in the middle of Harrogate town centre. Like, okay. But luckily, Kev being Kev, who's just amazing, found an empty food-ready production facility that was empty.
Previously made sausages.
Back to
that sausage thing.
Back to the sausage thing. Yeah, previously made sausages. They'd moved out because they needed bigger premises. They'd had something purpose built, and this was empty. And he was like, do you want to go and look at it? I was like, no. So he came to look at it. And because obviously I'm at this point going, what have I done? And he came to look at it, and yeah, our lease on the shop ended on the 31st of July.
Yeah.
And the lease became available here on the 1st of August.
So, meant to be.
Got to do it.
And how many years ago was that?
9 and, it's going to be 10 this August. So, yeah.
Okay. So, what's next?
I don't know. Well, I do. We've got a lot going on, which is really exciting. When I moved in here, it was me and a table, and that was it. And now we've got a really good team of 6. We've got shipping containers outside as far as the eye can see with storage in. We are literally busting at the seams. So we need to try to figure out how we can rework this building to get more out of it. But it's really exciting. We've got a lot of new projects coming up for really exciting people and for ourselves under the brand. So yeah, it's
watch this space.
World domination. That's what we got.
I don't doubt it. And this is my point about you being a trailblazer. And as I say, I know you don't like that, but just, I mean, and then whether you've ever had a plan or whether it is kind of chaos, as you've said, that kind of turns into a plan, but it's been an incredibly successful plan. I've got one last question for you,
Okay.
which I've always been intrigued by. If you didn't do this, what would you do?
I honestly don't know
Right.
what I would do, because I don't think I could do anything else. I mean, WWE champion is also not up for grabs. So, yeah.
Well, you never know.
Oh, shit,
Never say never.
Yeah, it's not a young man's
But
sport.
the other thing is, stand-up comedian. You're pretty good at that as well. To be fair.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of, have a look at that maybe one day when I've retired and I've got nothing else on.
Open mic night.
Open mic night.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Anybody throws cakes at me though, can you imagine?
Yeah, well, you've been there. Cakes, saucepans in your head. Like, well,
True.
what difference is that going to make?
Yeah, no difference at all. Yeah, just day in the life of.
And then I'm just really excited for the future for you because, as I say, you are a massive inspiration to me. You're massive. You always have been. I'm so super proud of you. And I think you underestimate just the effect that you have on the decisions that you have made in your life, and you are sometimes the most unassuming individual. And that you just, I'm so humble, but what you actually, and so underconfident, and it's crazy. Yet you put a cake in front of you, or you describing that the process and the artistry of some of the most amazing cakes that you have made. And I mean, at the moment, it's very artisan what you do, but there has been in the time, some of the absolute high level artisan kind of atelier style stuff that you do. It's just phenomenal. So you are an absolute inspiration to me. And I'm just so kind of, so super proud of you. And I should probably just explain to people why you call me dude and why I call you Bal, and then we can probably leave it at that, I guess.
Okay, but can I just say, for fear of smoke blowing?
Yeah,
dude. But
we're going to both start crying in a minute.
Well, maybe. But you say there's really lovely things about me, but you are my ultimate flex.
Oh,
you are.
What does that mean?
It means I just tell everybody about you and what you do and how incredible you are. And at the end of the day, I mean, I give people diabetes. You get people to go to work of a morning, and you give them a home to live in, and you change lives, man.
I also do a lot around people who are obese as well. So there is a one like that when you pull that in.
Yeah. But you are, and it's whatever I do, it's just following what you do.
Well, thank you for that.
Ultimate flex,
for sure. But yes, so we have this whole thing, don't we? We'll finish on this then. We have a whole thing in our world where everyone has a nickname.
Yeah. I'd worry if you didn't have one.
Yeah. So people who don't have nicknames, then really, do you think they've got no soul?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you.
Yeah.
So our nicknames. So I'll explain why you're Bal.
Okay.
Because it's just this, and this maybe is this iterative process about how we start something and then we go on to the next thing and it just rolls on.
Yeah.
So we can't call each other by our own names. We don't call our mum is not our mum, our dad is not our dad.
Mm-mm.
We've got nicknames for them, which, they have to depends. And the nicknames depend on when we're talking to them or when we're talking about them, which love you. But anyway, so you to me are Bal or Balaruni, depending on what. So for people who want to understand what that means, is because Charlotte, obviously, so it's kind of Charles. You've never been Charlie or Lottie; it's always been Charles. So then it becomes like a bit rhyme, Charles Bal. So then it's like Bal. So then you just rather than shortening, you then extend. So now it becomes Balaruni. So to me, you are, and Balaruni seems to suit you. If Charlotte doesn't suit you,
I know it doesn't. Charlotte is not a name for me.
It's pretty and it's nice. It's better than my name. At least you've got a nicer name. Oh, yeah. I don't know what they were doing with my name, to be fair.
No?
Oh, God, no. It's so boring, isn't it? Really. As Jarvis said, her name was Deborah. It never suited her.
Yeah.
He wrote that.
Nailed it.
He wrote that for me, for sure.
Sure.
So, dude, explain dude and spell it.
Oh, yeah, you got to spell it. So Deborah, Debbie, Debbie.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. No double B's. No double B-I-E.
No.
So, but you've always been Doodah Debs. Doodah, and now Doodah has become Dude, but Dude is D-O-O-D.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you've got to have a double O-D.
Oh, no. I think
Yeah.
Abby recently spelled it D-U-D-E, didn't
Yeah.
you? You were like, what?
Yeah.
It's not like, dude, where's my
Yeah.
car?
No.
It's like, dude.
Dude, yeah. It is. It's the double O. It's all about the double O.
It's all about the double O.
And you're a total dude.
Oh,
So
well, I don't have to take that, but I feel you.
in a really nice way.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I need some Jack in this.
Yeah, you do. Anyway, thank you for being my trailblazer and thank you for talking to me.
No, thank you.
Bye.